Peace and blessings. I've been doing some spiritual work, and my goal with this spiritual work was to connect with the grandfathers. And as I prayed, talking to my ancestors, talking to the grandfathers, I felt like there was a block. And then a message hit me. You can't work with the grandfathers unless you forgive them. And that's when I realized the disconnect, because I love my ancestors, but there are dead relatives that I don't like because of something they did while I knew them. And it really challenged me to say, how can I open my heart up to forgive people who I knew that were related to me that hurt people while they were here? And it dawned on me that it is not my place to judge. That sure, I could form an opinion, but it is not for me to hold that resentment in my heart and make it my own. I know that justice is love. And I believe that our Creator, our universe, is ultimately governed by justice, and that justice will prevail. And that whatever they needed to learn on the other side is going to happen. It's not for me, because the judge is not me. The judge is something much bigger that can handle holding that over them, right? But it's not for me to hold anything over them, because it keeps me in a bad place and keeps me from being able to access their gifts. Each one of our ancestors has a gift. Something good that they left behind. There's something good in their story that they left behind. There's some medicine that they were endowed with. Some medicine that they want to be able to give to you. But you got to forgive them. Because if you do not forgive them, then that guilt, the gravity of that guilt, the gravity of that resentment actually holds them from being able to fully go and ascend to the next stage of their soul evolution. We have to forgive them for both parties. It's not just for them so they can ascend. It's for us not to carry that heaviness in our heart. Because when they're still walking around feeling guilty because of the life they led, they're still holding on to those gifts like this. Like, oh, I could just fix it. I have my gifts. But when you say, you know what, I forgive you. I didn't like you, but I forgive you because it's not my place to hate you. Then they say, okay, thank you. And then they can release the gift, let it fall upon you. They can go do other spiritual work. Instead of living in a guilt box, stuck on earth, you've actually released your own resentment, released your own pain. You chose to forgive them and made your heart free. And then you free them up as well. And then, poof, they don't take the gift with them. The gift falls right in your lap. Ma'at, the force of justice, is what judges. In Ifa, we call it Eshu. In Christianity and in a lot of Abrahamic traditions, they call it God. There is a force that can handle judging. But it's not for us to judge. Especially after we've already done the healing work. You know, when we're healing, it's ultimately to forgive. That's the ultimate goal, is to be able to forgive. Forgiveness does not mean that that person becomes your best friend. It doesn't mean that this ancestor that you forgave became your exalted ancestor who's going to be walking with you everywhere, in the sense of like some sort of demigod that's walking around. You know, it's deeper than that. It's bigger than that. This is about healing generational trauma. This is about healing generational curses. We do not need our ancestors being stuck on this plane because they're stuck in a prison of guilt. They've already passed on. There's nothing else they can do to fix the stories that deal with the living. So let them go on. Right? That way, the energies can rain down upon us and we can take the good that they did, even if they were just a beautiful painter or a beautiful, athlete, or, they were a good hard worker, there's something in their story you can take in and be proud that it's in your blood. That is what you want to hang on to, is the thing that inspires you to go. The thing that that person gave you that made you strong. I'm not saying that you need to forgive people right away. If we could, that'd be perfect. But there is a process, right? I'm saying we should always be moving towards forgiveness. Because ultimately, it means having a heart that's not attached to any resentment, any ill will, or anything that's pulling from the power that you could be using for something else. It's a pure heart. Forgiveness is a pure heart. Forgiveness is having a free heart. We should only be moving in love. And two, arguably, of the highest expressions of love are forgiveness and justice. Justice is balancing, right? And justice is universal law. There is something beautiful in every ancestor you've had. That's the story you want to keep in your blood. That's the story that gives you access to more power. Forgiveness is the first way, and probably the most impactful way, to honor your ancestors.